We now continue with former vice presidential nominee and great friend of ours, Jack Kemp. Jack, let me ask you this. If John McCain makes nice with the conservatives, like Sean and Rush, etc., will that cost him with the independent voters who have been attracted to him in the past precisely because, for all the reasons, these guys didn't like him?
He is the only Republican who, in the debate over immigration, reminded the American people that both legal and illegal immigrants are still God's children. He gained a lot of support from many in the middle, and the middle right perhaps, who believe that we need a comprehensive solution and a guest worker program to stop the flow of illegal immigration. I know Sean disagrees with me, but I believe that from the bottom of my heart. So I think he has made steps to win over conservatives, but he's still got that independent streak, maverick streak, if you will, that can win Reagan Democrats and independents, in my opinion.
What about the age issue? The first thing people say to me when I mention the word John McCain, my students I did a little game with, I said, okay, let's free associate John McCain, and half the room yelled out, old.
He's got to make light of it. He's got to do what Ronnie Reagan did when Reagan said he's going to prove that he can compete in any race with Mondale. He's going to compete and prove his youth by campaigning in all 13 of our states. I mean, things like that can turn to his advantage. He's vigorous. He's healthy. He can outrun me by many miles. I think he's going to prove himself to be a very adequate campaigner and get a younger, maybe governor or senator. I think it won't be a problem for John McCain.
You have any ideas for who would be the ideal person?
No. There's a lot of good men and women in our party.
And what about, and then I'll leave this over to Sean, what about the fear I've heard from some Republicans that if he has a, quote, senior moment, that is, if he has a moment like you and Sean and I probably have every now and again. I have them all the time, where I just can't remember what day it is and where I'm going. But if that happens to John McCain, you and I both know the press will be all over him with the is he too old issue. How do you avoid that?
I think he's in mid-youth. He's a vigorous 71 years of age, and as I said, I can't keep up with him. So I think he's closer to 60 than to 70, and I think he'll prove himself in this campaign as he did in the primary.
Well, when I interviewed him, he was in the middle of a very heavy schedule, and I thought he was holding up very well, Jack. I want to go back to your comments about Reverend Wright, because and this is really important here, though. I don't know, should I call you quarterback or congressman? I never know what to say, but Sir.
Recovering politician.
Okay, there you go. But here's what's important. This comes down to, and you seem willing to give Barack Obama a pass that I'm not willing to give him. And let me explain this. This was his pastor for 20 years. The most incendiary anti-American language you would ever hear from the pulpit. He claims that he didn't know, but then he did know, but then he disinvited him to the invocation when he was announcing he's running for president here. Jack, I don't believe him, number one, and secondly, I question the judgment of this man.
He denounced the racism. He denounced the anti-Israel statements of Reverend Wright. He denounced the off-the-wall belief that America is the worst killing machine.
He sat there 20 years. Are you really? Huh?
I don't believe the Wall Street Journal, no soft on liberals editorial said they don't for a minute think he believes any of that stuff. So look,
no, that's not the question. Was he's saying he didn't know. Now this church, his pastor went to Tripoli with Louis Farrakhan. Now this is, Jack, this is important, that they gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award and said Farrakhan epitomized greatness.
But
and he didn't know any of this? Yeah, but his church did. He didn't know his pastor was like this?
Sean, I can't do this every night with you. I mean, you and I disagree with this. I think he's denounced it. I disagree with so many of his positions. For instance, he said he blamed the lack of economic opportunity that young black men and women have. You know what? I agree with him. We have not done enough to democratize our capitalistic system to make more capital available to start businesses. He wants to raise tax rates on capital gains, dividends, income tax by 52%. He's going to squeeze, not me, I'm already wealthy at 72. He's going to squeeze the young black entrepreneur.
Let's go down this road, because this is important, and I know I'm pressing you.
I don't want to stay on ad hominem arguments.
No, I don't want an ad hominem argument here, but I find it. I'll use the term that Hillary Clinton used about General Petraeus. This, for me is the willing suspension of disbelief. And what I mean by this is, if he really didn't know his pastor had these associations with Farrakhan, he went to this church for 20 years, he didn't know his pastor was saying these controversial things, as he would have us believe. We discovered and broke the story last night that he's friends with another pastor who has used the N-word repeatedly and talked about the mayor of Chicago as the slave master. I'm very hard-pressed to think that maybe he may have some agreement with this, which is a scary scenario for a president.
I don't think he does. He's in a tight spot because he's got to answer this again and again and again, particularly in the general. Having said that, I told you on your radio show last week that I hoped that if he is defeated, it's on the basis of bad economic policy, raising taxes, waving a white flag to our enemy in the Middle East, and things like that, not what Pastor Wright said.
I think you've taken on the role of the external conscience of Sean Hannity, because, boy, you've been after me a lot lately.
He's a good guy.
I'm a fan of yours, but I want to hold you accountable.
I am accountable. I know my facts. But anyway, good to see you.
You do.
Former Congressman.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.